good one.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Got the Tang back in Texas. We're back from Florida. Florida was an awesome time. It was a long freaking haul. Luckily, we made it back with no issues. The car drove off and on the trailer by itself, which is always a good deal when you leave the racetrack. We lost a tire on the way down to Florida, and actually on the way back, I wish I had the trailer here to show you, but it's getting fixed right now. But actually on the way back, we literally got home, I went to unload the car, and I checked the same tire, which was a brand new tire, mind you, and that one was already about to blow out. It had lost all the terrain off the tires. So what we found out, a lot of people were like, stop buying cheap tires. I literally bought the best ply, or like 8 or 10 ply radial tire you could buy for the trailer. And some people are like, put 14 ply. Those are like semi-trailers. They don't make those from that wheel size. Anyways, all my smart trailer experts out there. But, so what had happened is like the spring perch, I guess, for the axle is like a manufacturing defect, was over like literally 1/4 of an inch. So it would just rub the tire, and over time, it would actually, you know, the tires create heat when they're on the road, and then with it rubbing against that spring perch or whatever, it actually would cause the tire to blow. Now, I bought the trailer off a buddy, and I don't think it ever happened to him because he never traveled far enough where that would actually happen. It probably just wore the tire over time, then he would replace the tires. So I don't think he really knew, but with us driving to Florida, 20-something hours, it happened on the way there, and then it happened on the way back. So, got my buddy Leroy, he's cutting that off, re-welding it in the correct spot. But like I said, I think it's like a manufacturing defect, like it's nothing because it's welded in that spot. Anyways, moving on from that, those are really the only problems we had. The car ran great. I didn't really notice at the exact time, but then I kind of figured out later that night, but I didn't really speak about it. My car now has the Gen 3 Coyote Record back, which for me, this is not a record chasing car. You know, I don't have a shop. So like chasing records doesn't really help me in any way. I like drag racing. I like going to Street Car Takeover, FL2K, TX2K, any local races in Dallas, anything in Oklahoma. I love going and just drag racing. Now, when you get records, it's really cool, but for me, it doesn't really give me anything. You know, if you're a shop, it really helps you build that shop's credibility, saying that you can build record building, you know, record chasing cars, record breaking cars. And so for me, it's cool to have the records, but honestly, I'd rather be out drag racing, but it is cool to have the records. So previously, Jesus, Houston Street Monsters on Instagram, Midnight Performance built by Manuel and tuned by the same tuner that tunes my car. Everyone always tags me in these videos. I'm like, dude, you don't think I saw that or tuned by the same guy? But anyways, that's social media for you. Jesus was the first one to take a 2018 plus Mustang, a Gen 3 Coyote, into the 7s back in January, literally way before anybody else. He still has the 10R80, which is really cool too. But they've been chasing records with that car, and it went 794, I think, at like 174, 175 back in January. So they did it before anybody else. My car should have gone 7s, you know, back in like March when I first put the built motor and bigger turbo, but I had a ton of issues. I ran slow at TX2K. I ended up winning TX2K, but a slower class because I had a bunch of boost issues. Then came back, broke the transmission, and that's just part of, when you're racing all the time, that shit just happens, and if you're not breaking stuff, you're probably not going fast enough. So, you know, he's kind of held the 7-second slip for a while, and then I went and finally ran 7s. I didn't run any faster. I went like 7. My first 7-second pass was in Oklahoma, like 797, 3000 DA. Turned the car up just a little bit. I didn't want to turn it up too much. I had a slow 60 foot, like 125, but I was trying to win Street Car Takeover, which I did, so I didn't want to turn the car up too much and spin the tires, but it did end up going its first 7. It went like 797 at like 175, I believe, so didn't take the record then, but it was my first 7-second pass. And then after that, we went to recently FL2K. I went 786. But actually, before I went to FL2K, then freaking guys from Midnight take a stock Gen 3 Coyote and freaking run a 7 and make us all look slow with our built motors and shit. So So Viper, I think it's Viper LOL on Instagram, is Vic's car. He went 790, so he actually went faster than me and Jesus in a stock motor Mustang, which, you know, people are probably like, why'd you get a built motor? Well, his stock motor Mustang, you know, it wouldn't last that long at that much power, but it is still running on the stock motor. They took it to FL2K on the stock motor, turned it down a little bit, but it's freaking awesome. That car went that fast on a stock motor. So they actually took the Gen 3 Coyote stock motor record from me, and then they took the overall Gen 3 Coyote record, and then I went out to FL2K, and I went 786, 782, 785, and then a 780. So my fastest I've been now, which is the overall Gen 3 Coyote record, if you guys are wondering, is 780. I went 178 miles an hour. And I'm kind of going to go over why the car didn't go actually faster than that, because it did command more than that, but the car didn't go faster for a few reasons, which I'm going to go over in here in just a second. But then Jesus did go, I think he recently went 786 or 787. No, I think he went 782 or 783. So he's back in the low 780s. And they've only been out once, so I think they're going to get that car out. I'm really hoping they bring that car out to like actual racing, which I think they posted about they're going to start doing that soon. Because I think it'd be cool, like if I could line up with them, or just to see how that car does, you know, going rounds against people, because it is a really fast car and it's really well built. So, and you know, we're about to start getting to better weather, so all these cars like ours going, you know, 780s and stuff, this is in like, I did mine in 2500 to 3000 DA, 80% humidity, 85 degrees out, hot and greasy track. In, you know, I'm not out at these private rentals or anything. So when these private rentals come about here in the next month or two, these cars are going to be flying, because we'll have some good weather, have perfect track surface. It's not going to be, you know, people aren't going to be racing on it all day, eating it up. So, but yeah, the car's flying right now. I'm really happy with it. I've got a ton of changes coming up. I've already switched. I sold the fuel system, switching up the fuel system, switching up the intercooler system. I'm switching the turbo. What else am I switching? Okay, so here's the biggest reason. That's what I was trying to get to. Why my car didn't go any faster. So right now, what we ran into at the end of FL2K is a couple things. Started to run out of fuel. I had triple 450 Walbros in the back. Part number is like 267. Those are the 450s. Started to run out of fuel pumps. So I got with Logan, my boy over at Lethal Performance. Discount code in the link down below. If you guys want to check out Lethal Performance, they always hook me up. But I got triple 525s. The part number is like 285 from Walbro. But triple 525, they're pretty much Hellcat pumps. So I got 3 of those coming in. So they're going to be drop-in tank pumps like the ones I have now. They're just a little bit bigger. So I was starting to max out the pumps. We started to see the car go lean up top just a little bit. So we wanted to get more fuel pump in the back. And then I got really excited about this. I had ID 1700s up front, and we're going to start maxing those out pretty soon too. So I've actually switched to Fuel Injector Clinic 2150s. Now, let me show you these things. They're freaking sweet. Fuel Injector Clinic, you know, people usually go, sorry, I'm trying to get the box out of the car. People usually go with 1 or 2 brands. These are kind of the main brands, right? IDs and then FIC, which is Fuel Injector Clinic. And I reached out to Fuel Injector Clinic. I said, you know, this is the size I'm looking for. And the ID 2000s were discontinued. They only have the ID 2600s now. So I decided to reach out to Fuel Injector Clinic and see what they offered. Something maybe in between. And these are the 2150s. Freaking, the packaging they come in is sick. Everything they come with is super nice. So the coolest thing about these Fuel Injector Clinic injectors, each individual injector is literally flow tested at the factory before it comes out. So they send you a data match sheet, which is in this packaging, which I'm not going to take out. But there's a data flow sheet. That way if you ever need to replace one, they'll find one that's within the same spec as the ones they already sent you. But check out this packaging. Super, super legit. So huge thanks to Randy over at Fuel Injector Clinic, helping me out get the right injectors. But these are FIC 2150s. And a few things that's really cool about these, besides the data flow match technology, is they're priced a lot better than the IDs. IDs are expensive. They're still a Bosch style injector. You know, that's pretty much what all injectors are made from, is from Bosch Injector. But what's also really cool about these is they have a full lifetime warranty. So if you ever have an issue with these injectors and it's something that they messed up, they will replace these. Full lifetime warranty, super awesome. But I'm really excited. Fuel Injector Clinic has stepped on board with me for the rest of this year and for 2021. So I'm really excited to try these injectors out. Already got the tune from John Lund Jr. He says he's been tuning these lately and they tune just like ID2000s. So there's nothing wrong with running these injectors. You know, people sometimes assume the more expensive the product, the better, and that's not always the case. I mean, these still aren't cheap injectors, guys. They're just a little bit cheaper than IDs, but I think what really separates FIC apart is that they have the lifetime warranty. So I'll talk about these a little bit more once we start tuning the car, but I do have the file already for the tune because John Lund Jr. already knows how to scale these in because he's tuned them before. But just wanted to show you guys some of the parts I got coming in for the car. I wish I had the fuel pumps in, I'd show you those, but super excited. Huge thanks to Randy, Fuel Injector Clinic. Can't wait to run these. So I got bigger injectors, bigger pumps. I am ditching the air to water system, and I'll probably talk about that in another video. I don't want to get too much into it right now. But if you guys didn't know, this is literally a custom made Aldo Weld's intercooler. It's got 2 cores in it. It's good for like 1500 to 1700 horsepower. Super nice unit. I polished it. It was like raw aluminum. I polished it, and I had a 10-gallon tank up there. Now I've got the one that goes with the fuel cell back here. I've got a nice Davies Craig pump. The ITs are super good on this car, but I'll get more into it in another video. I'm not switching because the air to water doesn't work. I'm switching because I'm trying to run a number with this car, and I'm trying to make it a little more competitive. And there is some air-to-airs out there that can keep up with air-to-waters. They're definitely not better. Obviously, air-to-water is the better way to go. But for me right now, the additional weight of the air-to-water just isn't worth it. Now, so what a lot of people do, like Mr. Streetcar Joe, is they run their car on methanol. And you don't have to run an intercooler. Your IATs are still good. Well, your IATs aren't good, but they're doable with the methanol. The methanol will keep it cool. But you don't have to run an intercooler, so you save all the weight. Now, with running E85, I still need to run an intercooler, which I've seen people run non-intercooled, but the best way to do it is still run an intercooler. So what I'm gonna do is I'm switching to an air-to-air intercooler from Siley over at Siley Tuning and Racing. So he's making me a custom fab one right now. It's gonna save me about, hopefully, I don't know for sure, we'll weigh everything, but we're hoping like another 40 to 50 pounds. They're still heavy, but the thing is I won't have to carry around ice, and I won't have to have all that additional weight of the water and ice in the car. Now, obviously, air to water is better. I'll show you guys the difference in the IATs, but a lot of people are running air to waters at this power because you need the IATs to stay cool. So I'm gonna keep an eye on them. Supposedly, my IATs are gonna be good. I still recommend people go air to water, but I'm at a point, I need to lose weight in this car. I know a lot of people think it's really light. It is lighter for an S550, but it's still not crazy light. Like, it still has a cage. I'm telling you, this air to water stuff is heavy. I still always run 2 seats in it. I've got bead locks on the rear, which add weight. It's still an IRS car, which adds weight. It's got parachute. It's got a full 850 cage. I'm telling you, the stuff I've taken out of this car is not that heavy. Besides, like, you know, when I took the dash out and replaced it with the MMR one, that was a lot of weight, but literally all that did was offset putting the cage in. Doing the steering rack and the manual steering saved like 20, 30 pounds. It's really not that much weight. I could have saved more weight by doing a hood or a trunk. And so I know a lot of people see my car and they're like, oh my God, it's so freaking light, dude. It's like, it's light for an S550, but if you look on the outside, it's completely stock on the outside. But that's the way I like the look of the car. Like stock bumpers, stock fenders, stock hood, stock trunks, stock doors, all glass, stock roof. Like, I like that look of the car. But with it still being an IRS car, and still being all stock panels on the outside, like I said, it's light for an S550. There is some 2018 Mustangs out there that are a lot lighter than me, actually. But like I said, some of the stuff I've done to lose weight in the car, it's like 20, 30 pounds here and there. So it's not a huge difference. But I will say it is light for an S550, but it's probably not as light as you think. Anyways, so I've got a bunch of new parts coming. I do have a bigger turbo for the car. It's already here. And I'll kind of explain that when we get to that part of the install. It's actually not a bigger turbo. It's more of a different brand. It's supposed to flow more. It's really not that much bigger of a turbo. It's really the same size, but it's from a different brand. It's supposed to flow more. It's supposed to be a little bit lighter. So I am selling my old turbo. I think I already have it sold by the time this video is posted, but just kind of want to keep you guys up to date what's going on with the car. Tons of changes coming. So we're going to try and get the car a little bit lighter if we can by switching air to air. And hopefully my IATs stay good. We'll see. We won't know until we start running at the track and do some data logging. We got the upgraded fuel system going in because we were starting to run lean at the end. We needed more fuel pump, we needed more injector, and a few other odds and ends coming. The biggest thing, dang it, I keep forgetting to talk about it, but my cams weren't locked, and honestly, I don't know the answer to this. I don't know why we didn't lock the cams. John Lund Jr. says some cars don't have an issue when you get to this horsepower level. When you get to this 1350, 1400, 1500 horsepower level, but most people are locking the cams because the computer tries to revert the cams when it's doing its self-learning thing up top, and like, you know, he fights it in the tune, but at some point the self-learning thing takes over and the cams try and revert. And so yeah, I don't know why my cams weren't locked when we built the motor, but I think it's just because some people have good luck with it and some people don't. It's just, you know, my solenoids might be bad, whatever the case may be. But anyways, I'm actually gonna lock the cams. I wish we would have done it earlier, but I didn't really know that we were gonna run into this issue. That's just part of building a motor and going through, you know, just going through the different stages of building a car. So that is the other major item we're gonna do. There's a few other things which I'll talk about in some upcoming videos, but just wanted to update you guys on what we're doing with the car. We're a few weeks out from racing, so we've got a ton of work to do. So Streetcar Joe better open up his garage and quit working on other people's projects. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed all that FL2K content. Currently, like I said, we do have the Gen 3 Coyote record. It's probably gonna be taken here in the next week or two when one of these guys gets to a track rental, but hopefully in the next few weeks when we get back to the track, we'll be running some pretty good numbers too. We just ran out of some fuel, and with the cams not being locked, we tried to turn it up and the car, you know, the intake cam would just drop and the car really wouldn't make much more power. So, and like I said, we were running lean on fuel. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Make sure you subscribe, check out the channel, like the video. I'll see you guys on the next one.